In 1777, Maximilian Joseph, the Elector of Bavaria, died without an heir, sparking a succession crisis. Bavaria, located in what is now southern Germany, was a rich and important region, and this power vacuum caught the attention of the two of Europe's most powerful rulers, Emperor Joseph II of Austria and Frederick the Great of Prussia. Joseph II, ambitious to expand Austria's influence, claimed large parts of Bavaria, but Frederick, who had a sharp eye on Austrian expansion, wasn't about to let that happen. This set the stage for a conflict between Austria and Prussia that would later be known as the War of Bavarian Succession. But this war was different. Both Austria and Prussia assembled their armies and prepared for battle, but instead of clashing on the battlefield in any grand sense, the soldiers found themselves spending more time foraging for food than fighting. Troops from the both sides spent months scouring the countryside, looting farms and stealing crops to feed their hungry ranks. The war became less about territory and more about who could secure enough food. And in the 18th century Europe, the potato was a lifeline. It had become a staple crop across Europe, especially for the common folk. It was hardy, nutritious, and provided much needed sustenance for soldiers on long campaigns. During the Potato War, both Austrian and Prussian armies relied heavily on looted supplies, and potatoes became a primary target. Many soldiers found themselves not facing enemy armies but chasing peasants down the dirt roads to steal their potato crops. For the local population, the war felt less like a grand political struggle and more like a potato heist. Remarkably, this war saw very little bloodshed. In fact, despite the significant build-up, there were only minor skirmishes. The main reason for this is that neither side was willing to commit to a full-blown conflict. Both Prussia and Austria had larger political concerns and were more interested in maneuvering and posturing than outright battle. In letters and reports from the time, we find that both armies often moved away from the conflict and focused more on raiding the countryside. Soldiers, tired and hungry, were more interested in finding food than risking their lives. The Potato War is one of the few wars in European history where more potatoes were stolen than shots were fired. After months of non-combat and food raids, Austria and Prussia realized they had reached a stalemate. The cost of maintaining the armies in the field was rising, and neither side wanted to escalate the conflict further. In May 1779, the war officially ended with the Treaty of Teschen. Austria gave up its claim to Bavaria, and Frederick the Great secured the independence of Bavaria. Maintaining the balance of power in Europe, both sides returned home without any significant territorial gains, but with full stomachs, except for the peasants, of course.